Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody. Yesterday was the Shriner Show in Wilmington, Massachusetts. I met up with a bunch of YouTubers. Also went with my friend Oliver. Hadn't really hung out with Oliver much in quite a while, so that was great. Uh, awesome time. I'll have a recap probably Monday-ish, along with three pretty big pickups that I've added to my collection that really fit what I'm trying to do. So I'm excited about that. This is my weekly, every Sunday morning, Clearing the Bases episode where I cover all the news from the past week that was fit to be covered that didn't get their own video. I'm going to jump right in here. As always, if you have anything you wanted to add, throw it down in the comments. Share my screen. Big item here. October, items graded. There's several headlines here. Do you remember when PSA got to 1 million cards in 1 month and everybody said, holy cow, a million cards. This is crazy. This is flooding the market with PSA slabs. This is, all the things that people say, junk slab era. They are at 2 million now, 1.97 million, up 27% month over month and 36% year over year. CGC still in second with 500,000. They've more than doubled year over year how many cards they're grading, which is really cool to see. Obviously, it's not really competition for PSA, but it's great to see CGC in there. And then here's SGC down at the bottom, which means that tag has passed SGC. SGC now at 50,000, down 69% year over year, and tag up 43% year over year to take that fourth spot. Beckett up 86% year over year. So a lot of big numbers year over year, up and down. SGC being the only one that's down. Pretty surprising. Most of the SGC versus tag is strictly a sports. So you can see SGC is third in sports at 47,000, down 70% year over year. Tag only did 2,000 sports cards. And here's the TCG and non-sport. SGC only 3,000, down 52% year over year. Tag 48,000. And as you can see, Beckett is largely TCG and non-sport, but they are still second in sports, about 90% lower than PSA with 71,000 cards. Really interesting stuff. And you can see here with this final chart, PSA just on a really, really steady incline with a huge jump last month. CGC on a pretty steady incline as well. But tag taking over Beckett. No, tag taking over SGC. Or you could just use the penny sleever products. Use my code JWH2025 for 10% off your first order. I use their mags, their one touches. They are the best in the industry. They are much easier to use. Same with really any of their products. Yeah, strong recommend 10% off JWH2025 for any of their products on your first order. This is the other big news of the week. You've got Jason Mashera, the president of Upper Deck, posted this on LinkedIn. I didn't even know there were sports card stuff on LinkedIn, but I guess it makes sense. Apparently, he posts a lot about the industry on LinkedIn, and this one, for some reason, went viral. I think it's because Ivan from The Breaks shared it on Twitter, and it went viral. I mean, you've got Jeff Wilson talking about it on a video, and all the YouTubers talking about it, including me here, obviously. And he's just talking about speculation and how it's become a big problem in the industry. And he's right. There's nothing here that he says that's wrong. I don't think. He's talking about everything speculative is up right now. Stock market, Bitcoin, trading cards, and it's pricing some collectors out. It's true. This is all very true. And then he says, and if that money suddenly moves elsewhere to bet on something else, we will all feel it. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that's wrong here. He's just talking about speculation, and if that money moves out of the sports card market, where does it go and what happens? And then he got a little bit of a blowback from people saying, "Well, you're criticizing the market of sports cards. Blowout Cards, which is a big time dealer, online dealer, they were selling Upper Deck cards, according to them, selling Upper Deck cards cheaper than Upper Deck liked, and they were regularly getting calls from Upper Deck asking why they were priced so low on Upper Deck products. And then Upper Deck devised a policy that in order to sell, online retailers would need to be approved, and Blowout didn't get approved. And they say it's because, or they are alluding to the fact that it was because they were selling them too cheaply. Uh, so I don't know what that. I guess they're saying that he's talking about manipulation. Oh yeah, he did say 100% the market is being manipulated in a follow up with Collect, and so they're saying yeah, manipulated by you too. More big news this week was Panini Group. So this was an article in Italian, and I guess people were trying to translate it, and they're saying Panini is exploring a sale, and Topps was named as a potential buyer. And as I understand this, Topps was named as a potential buyer only by the people who wrote the article in Italian, not by Panini. Panini wasn't saying, "Hey, we're looking to be sold, and we think Topps would be a great buyer." In the article, it just said Topps would make sense, basically, as I understand it. And anybody would say that. Fanatics, who owns Topps, did come out and say, "We're not buying Panini." I don't know what that's worth. And this is from Collecting on SI. Uh, I don't know what this statement is worth because Fanatics has to say that. They have to come out if they are a massive public company, and they have to come out and say, "Yeah, we're not buying them," because they can't say, "Yeah, we're exploring a purchase with them," because it would manipulate the stock price. It would help make them lose leverage on the purchase. So anytime there's an acquisition happening, they're going to say, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." Until it's done, Fanatics will not say that they're involved in it. And I'm not saying that Fanatics is buying Panini. I'm just saying that it kind of makes sense because Panini has a lot of really good assets. Cool cards, kabooms, which we'll show a kaboom here in a little while. National treasures. There's Black Finite. There's so many great Panini assets that Topps most likely covets. All right. Should Panini be grading this card? This is a Larry Fitzgerald 2004 Ultra Platinum Medallion. And these were backdoored after the Fleer Skybox bankruptcy. And this one was graded by PSA. I don't know how long ago this was with this certain number. And that, as you can see down here, says, no, this was a mistake. We'll buy it back to get it off the market, which I always find really interesting. Just he says it's not his. He's been looking for one and saw it pop up on eBay. And I guess this is probably I could probably look it up. Actually, I'm going to pause this for a moment and go look this up and see when this was graded. Yeah, I forgot that PSA does not say when cards are in their cert verification doesn't say when cards are graded, but it has been intentionally deactivated by PSA. So this is always a weird situation. PSA has acknowledged that they've made a mistake, and now they deactivate the card and they just wait. I guess maybe they've reached out to the seller on eBay. I'm not sure. I've heard of situations where they just wait for somebody to call them because they don't know who owns it. Congrats to the Dodgers, I guess, on another World Series. Yeah, I don't know. It was weird that the play. It was at the bottom of the ninth, one out, bases loaded. Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Why didn't he have a bigger lead? Such a weird. I mean, that cost the Blue Jays the World Series, as I understand it. I it's very early in the morning on Sunday. I haven't watched much about it, but I did see it. I saw the replay this morning, and it felt like that. Am I wrong? I don't have ESPN because YouTube TV isn't negotiating, or they're in the middle of negotiations with Disney on ESPN properties. Anyway, uh, Topps now has this Shohei hitting World Series champion, and they've got an autographed with his normal autograph and then his kanji one here too. And this is just a mock-up. And I always wonder, do they have this already negotiated with him, or are they just hoping they can get him to do this? Anyway, it's a cool card. Speaking of Shohei, Adam Gray has this 3 sales of this Superfractor rookie autograph. One of them was 2.5 years ago for $69,000. One of them was under a year ago for $246,000, and it has doubled this year. Just sold yesterday for $543,000. Wow. Here's another interesting one. This Luka Doncic card was apparently owned by Shine, was a BGS 9 with a 10 auto. He crossed it to PSA and it got a 7. Rookie logo man autograph, Panini National Treasures. Ouch. And then this one went semi-viral on Twitter. This is LeBron 2020 Panini Prism Gold Prism. I guess if you're a LeBron guy, it's a pretty iconic card. Sold for $384,000. Gem Mint 10 PSA, $384,000. And then Sergi Boy, I think I'm pronouncing his name right, has looked at the scans and found that it's not very good. Like for a 10, this is pretty poor. You've got some really tipped corners. Maybe it's just because it's only noticeable in the back and I don't know. This is Coach Doug's. I don't know who this guy is, but he's very popular on Twitter. He has like 117,000 followers, which in the sports card world is really popular. I don't know what he does, though. I don't follow him. Pulled a black Cooper Flagg, numbered to 68, but has edge corner damage and surface scratches. It may sell for $500 as is, or should I send it to Topps and hope that they replace it with something good? I never would have thought to send this back to Topps. It's just such this new mentality of, oh, my card isn't perfect out of the bag, out of the pack. I've got to send it back to Topps. It's crazy. There are some pretty serious scratches next to his face here, and I guess an edge issue down here, maybe corner. I don't know. It never would have occurred to me. Would you send this back to Topps? I get sending it back, but would you think to send it back to Topps, I guess is the better question. You pull this out of a pack. Here's another Cooper Flagg. This apparently, according to Jason at Heritage, a consigner at Heritage pulled the redemption. It was the only card he bought from this Topps Now, and he got the 1/1 autograph, first overall pick. Pretty lucky. I love this. This is a great mentality. This guy's selling his Tom Brady 2012 Topps Platinum Red Refractor. It's a PSA 2, and it says, graded PSA 2. For me, it's a 10. That's what I look at my cards and I think, man, this 1.5 is way better than a 1.5. And this 2 looks great. I don't know what happened to it. This is a weird one. Ryan's Cards LLC has always been popular on Twitter. I've never followed him. I don't really see his tweets. I don't know the deal with him, but I guess he has a Discord server that he charges people for. I don't know really anything about him, but he's been sued 3 times in the last month or so for significant amounts of money too. Like I guess the court awarded the plaintiff $188,000 against Ryan's Cards because he was borrowing money against revenue he was getting from his Discord. You got to go and follow Paul Lesko and read up on this because I'm only mentioning it because this guy is so popular on Twitter for unknown reasons. But he went private after this went public, and then eventually he just nuked his account altogether because of all the criticism. Yeah, just a weird situation. Fanatics. This person bought a card off of Fanatics, and it came without protection on the slab and a giant sticker covering the back of the card. And you can see the sticker in this photo through the front. And then you flip it over, and they tried to pull the sticker off, and it just wouldn't come off. You can still see all the goo and the residue. $9,000 card. Scratched slab, unprotected. Yeah, no good. This is a Vlad Guerrero Jr. logo man where they've cut the logo man in half, which seems crazy to me. Like, the whole point of the logo man is that you put it on the card, not half of it on one card, half of it another, and it's a one of one. Where did the other half of it go into? A different one of one? Oh, wait a second. Here it is. I didn't even notice this before. There is the other half of it. That's crazy. Mike Trout rookies continue to drop. 10s are going in the low 600s. Yeah. I bought a 9, and I bought it super cheap at the time back in the spring. I paid 310 or 320 for it. And at that time, that was like people were blown away by how cheaply I had purchased it for. And I was hoping the Trout would have another big year after that. But obviously he didn't. And now those 9s are going for like 260 to 280. I've seen. Uh, and his 10s are only going for about $700 or even 600 here. Here's one, $600. This Michael Jordan card has increased 66,041% in 16 years. Here's the card. It was purchased for $1,225 in 2009. Just sold for $810,000. All right, the hook. I don't know who this guy is, but he's got a good account. I see a lot of his tweets. I follow him, and he says weird pricing anomaly. You can get a Shohei team set image variation rookie card PSA 10, population only 254, for the same price as his base Topps Chrome rookie card PSA 10, which has a pop of almost 15,000. It's 60x rarer, he says. And I see this a lot where people say the rarer card should be more valuable, which is not true. Iconic cards are going to sell for more, no matter, no, I shouldn't say are always going to sell for more, but often sell for more, no matter how big the population is, because the demand for iconic, or the word I heard recently from Chris Hoge was iconicity, which I'd never heard that word before, but I guess it makes sense. And this Topps Chrome base card is more iconic than this team set card. Speaking of iconic cards, this isn't an iconic card per se, but it's an iconic set. This is 1986 Topps Tiffany, and the Tiffany cards actually, Chris Sewell in his Saturday video talked about the value of Topps Tiffany has skyrocketed in the last 5 years or so. And here's a good example. This person put in a bid of $3,000 for this 86 Topps Tiffany PSA 10 Tony Gwynn, and they didn't get it. Sold for $3,050. And Ryan Stadler says, well, this is crazy because the last one sold, it was almost 2 years ago for $700. So it has tripled in value in under 2 years. All right, actually, no, I'm sorry. We have a sale 18 months ago, June 2024 for $680. So it has tripled in under 18 months because the Topps Tiffany values have skyrocketed. This is an interesting tweet. You have a BGS 8 not signed, sold for $13,200 in October. 3 weeks later, BGS 8 with a 7 autograph of Michael Jordan sold for $276,000. Same card grade, $276,000 versus $13,000. That's a big difference. Steph Curry Kaboom sold for $12,600 a week ago. Could have bought one for $101 8 years ago. I think these. I think this is the earliest one. These look silly to me. The newer ones, not necessarily 2024 or 25, but the ones in the like late teens, early 20s look really cool. Oh, we already covered this. We're moving along. Uh, this will go in my newsletter this week. 1916 newspaper ads revealed distribution of baseball cards. Uh, yeah, I think this was a cool article. I'll include it in my newsletter, junkwaxhero.com. This one too, as cards get more expensive, average collectors have power to fix it. And then this, I think this is going to get its own video at some point in the future. Rob Go he bought a PSA 10 Maravich earlier this year, sold it for a big prop, better than doubling his money just 6 months later. I think that's going to get its own video. PSA is grading these Japanese movie tickets, and Scream is my all-time favorite movie. These Japanese movie tickets are so cool. I wish we could get these as well. I would put these up in my room. And then the other one they had was Ghostbusters. Very cool stuff. And then Stick, longtime viewer, sent me this. If we zoom in on this, look at Michael Jordan's face. Let's see if we can get one more zoom. Yeah. Uh, and Stick said it looks like a character from Thundercats. I don't remember what those guys were called. Brute something, Man Brute, something like that. Brute Man. Yeah. That's a really interesting photo that they photoshopped in here. All right, this guy Basiltoff on Reddit shared some cards from his dad's collection. First of all, MJ Ultimate Collection autograph. I don't know what that's worth, but it's worth a lot, more than any card I have. But then 1961 Fleer complete set from his dad's collection. There's the wilt. Here are the rest of them. There's a wilt up there, and you'll notice none of these are graded. And then here we've got some Jackies, some Ted Williams, just all the best players from that era. And the cards look like they're in pretty decent condition. These are awesome. I would put these in penny sleever products. Man, these are great. Look at all the Clementes, Koufax, everybody. A lot of people are criticizing this. This guy has a Babe Ruth autograph on with a Michael Jordan autograph. And you remember Patrick Ryan put the five goats, had them all autograph the same sheet of paper that Babe Ruth had signed. And this guy's doing the same thing, but he's also added in Baker Mayfield. And people are like, this is so crazy. You've ruined that. But he hasn't ruined it. He's done exactly what he wants to do. I don't know. I just can't bring myself to criticize somebody who likes Baker Mayfield that much and wanted to do this. Why not? I wonder what Baker Mayfield said when he was adding his autograph to this. Collector bought this Wayne Gretzky debut ticket for $11,000 5 years ago. Just sold it for more than 10x, quite a bit more than 10x, almost 15x that. $158,000 in just 5 years. It's a good purchase. This person, I don't know who this is, Royals Cards. And this isn't a knock on them, but they tweeted, some people are so short-sighted in this hobby. Spent over $2,000 with a vendor on what he says, quoted, gradable raw cards. Already kicked out over half already for bends, dents, scratches, etc. Could have spent $100,000 with him over the next year if he didn't lie about the condition. Now it'll be $0. And I have to wonder, did they agree on what gradable means? Were these vintage? Were these ultra modern? It's so vague. And this guy's really upset with the vendor. But if the vendor would grade them, if you are a collector and you want to buy them and get them graded, you have to agree on what gradable means, right? Maybe they did. I don't know. Darren Rovell seems to be living in an alternate universe where the Boston Red Sox won the 1986 World Series. He has this uh, sign from somewhere that says, "Congratulations, 1986 World Series champions." And I like this. This is really neat. But I'm also really glad that they didn't, because the first World Series, the first baseball season I remember is 1987. And I don't think, if the Red Sox had won the 86 World Series, I don't think the 2004 World Series would be as special to me or to many Red Sox fans if they had also won it in 1986. This is really neat. 1982 NCAA Finals ticket signed by Dean Smith on the front, Michael Jordan on the back. And it is personalized to Kevin. But yeah, it's still a really cool piece of history. This, I don't know, this looks like a dorm room maybe of this person. Spent 6 years building one of the most impressive Messi versus Ronaldo matchup card collections in the world. Here it is. Pretty neat. And then Halloween costume. This kid is the MLB debut Paul Skeens card. Brian Gothrop. And then we have the Man Cave of Steel. This is, I interviewed him on my channel. Geez, it must be 2+ years ago. Great, great interview. Amazing collection of Ricky Henderson cards. And just a cool Halloween photo in part of his hobby room. And then this is a Shohei rainbow. And then interestingly, just kind of randomly put in this in the bottom corner, probably just to make it look. If it were me, I would have excluded this one and just shifted these over so that they were underneath. But still, that's petty. Great, great rainbow collection of all these Shohei rookies. And I don't do SpongeBob, but when you put together the entire collection of SpongeBob autographs from 2025, you get a spot here at the end of my video. And Nick Castellanos, I always forget how to pronounce his last name. There are certain last names that just get me. I think, how do I pronounce that? His is one of them. And I could hear it 5,000 times and I'm always going to forget. Got all the patches. 11 patches to spell out his last name. This guy for Halloween says he was giving away Mickey Mantle cards. I really doubt he was, but it was still funny. One Mickey Mantle card per kid. And then Jeff and his wife, this is funny. First of all, my kids say 6'7", especially my 15-year-old gets so excited when 6'7" happens. And so adults, I think, are trying to take back 6'7" by dressing as 6 and 7 for Halloween. So Jeff and his wife did. And then you can see down here, he's wearing these nice shoes, and Kel Varnson zoomed in and found these sneakers are $1,100 sneakers, and they look nice. But I just think it's funny that Kel Varnson of Seinfeld lore decided to zoom in and find the sneakers. Yeah. That is it for today, you guys. Under 30 minutes. I appreciate you guys watching. Make sure you are subscribed here for my Shriner Show recap. A lot of cool stuff there. I will see you all soon. Have a good Sunday.